Welcome back. In this module, we're getting started with email marketing. Social media tends to be the go-to online marketing platform for modern businesses, but with each update, it's harder to reach your audience. We'll cover how to boost your engagement in the next lesson, but I think it's essential that businesses also have an email list. Here's why. People may not see your social media posts, but they will receive your email. Whether they open it or not is up to them, but you're still better off on the visibility front. Also, you own your contact list. If Instagram goes out of business, heaven forbid, you have no way of moving your followers to another platform. You have to start from scratch. If email marketing software MailChimp were to go out of business, all you have to do is export your contact list and update it to a different email platform. Your audience can get to know you more in email. On an email, you have more room for pictures, text, and links, which leads to email is built for conversions, meaning you can link to your heart's content. Facebook doesn't promote posts with links, and Instagram only allows you the link in bio option. On email, you can add as many links as you'd like. When someone clicks on a link and buys, that's considered a conversion. You may be thinking that email is dead, that no one opens their emails, or that it's one more thing to do. Let's bust these misconceptions. People are twice as likely to sign up for your email list as they are to interact with you on Facebook. 59% of respondents say marketing emails influence their buying decisions, and 80% of business professionals believe that email marketing increases their customer retention. I've linked to these stats in the transcript on the lesson page. Still not convinced? I've heard from numerous marketing gurus that for every one subscriber you have on your list, you'll make an additional $1 per month. And you don't have to send emails every day or even every week. I recommend starting with once a month or every 6 weeks. Depending on your business, it may make sense to send emails more often, like weekly. Start with once a month, then bump it to twice a month, then once a week. It's better to send a monthly email consistently than a weekly email inconsistently. Also, putting together your email doesn't have to be time-consuming. It's actually best to keep it short. People are busy and have short attention spans, so it's better to have a short, snappy email than one that drags on. We'll cover what to include in your emails in the next lesson, but first, you need to pick your platform. I recommend MailChimp or Flowdesk. MailChimp is free for up to 2,000 subscribers, and even on the free plan, you can send automated welcome sequences. However, I did find the design of MailChimp clunky and the software tricky to work with, so I transitioned to Flowdesk. Flowdesk is not only intuitive, its templates are fresh, minimal, and modern. I found email design easier, statistics clearer, and their tutorials are fantastic. They also answer questions via email or on their Facebook group. Flowdesk also includes unlimited subscribers, which many platforms don't. It's $38 a month. However, if you use code MissMegabug at checkout, the subscription is $19 a month for your first year. Now, email marketing comes with its own glossary of terms, and not every platform uses the same word to describe something. We're going to cover these terms along with a few different names they go by. A contact or a subscriber are the email addresses that receive your email newsletters. A list or segment is the compilation of your email contacts. A tag is a way to categorize your lists based on shared characteristics. Let's say you sell clothes. Your list would be shoppers, and tags could be petite, women, kids, etc. Certain e-newsletter platforms allow you to send newsletters just to the tags on your list. Opt-in. When a person enters their email address to receive your e-newsletter, they are opting in to your list. Unsubscribe is when a person chooses to no longer receive your email newsletter. An automation or workflow are emails that send automatically when a subscriber is added to a list. And GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulation, a legislation passed by the European Union. Once you decide which platform you'd like to work with, the first step is to create e-newsletter signups or forms where people can opt into your list. For most businesses, a single list will do. This means that every email you create will send to all of your subscribers. When I had more offers, however, I had multiple lists, including in-person classes and events, marketing and business tips, photography tips, and more. This allowed my audience to only receive emails on the specific content they were looking for. People can be on multiple lists, and you can also send emails to multiple lists. For example, I could choose to send the same email to my in-person classes and photography lists. Depending on your email software, you may use tags instead of lists, so you would have one list with multiple tags. When sending an email, you'd send to just the tag, not the entire list. Back to creating opt-in forms, there are categories of opt-ins, in person and online. I recommend both methods. For the in-person method, all you have to do is display a sign-up sheet at your place of business. Even if you don't have a concrete location, it's helpful to have a sign-up sheet. You can bring it with you to meetings, expos, classes you teach, etc. You'll have to manually add your sign-ups to your email list, but it's not that hard. Try to add them as soon as you can, though. You don't want them to forget about your business, then a month later receive an email from it. A sign-up sheet can be a simple sheet of paper or a notebook, but I like to jazz mine up a bit by designing an actual form on Canva. I created a template and linked to it on the lesson page. There's also a tutorial on how to update the template. Let's shift to online subscriber forms. Depending on your e-newsletter software, you'll have a few options to choose from, including an actual subscribe page, embedded forms, pop-ups, and landing pages. The beauty of all of them is that when someone signs up for your list, they're automatically added to it. No effort on your part. The first option are embedded forms, and I have a few on my website. There's an embedded form in the footer of my website which appears on every page. Always do this. I'll include a form on some of my blog posts too. And I also designed my own page with a general embedded form. All of my embedded forms were designed on Flowdesk and coded in. The process was easy. The comprehensive tour of Flowdesk video back in the lesson page demonstrates where to go to create an embedded form. Some online checkout platforms also allow customers to click a box to automatically subscribe to your e-newsletter. Pop-ups are pretty self-explanatory. When someone heads to your website, a window pops up and grabs their attention. Now, pop-ups can be very annoying, so if you go this route, make sure to set it so it won't show up again after that person signs up for your list. I've included a reel on the lesson page of why I no longer use pop-ups. On your in-person and digital subscribe forms, include the frequency of your emails and what people can expect from them. We're so inundated with emails that when you're transparent about how often you send yours, people will be more likely to subscribe, especially if your frequency is no more than once per week. When describing what people can expect from your emails, write the benefits in an enticing way. I use Get Business Savvy as a headline of my online subscribe forms. For small businesses, this can be enough to get subscribers. If people love your business, they're going to want to know when you have new inventory, a new menu item, are hosting an event, having a sale, and just what's going on. But you can also sweeten the deal by incorporating lead magnets. A lead magnet is incentive for someone to sign up for your list. Different types of lead magnets include a discount or free shipping to your store, a free trial of your offer, quizzes, freebies such as a free course or training, a downloadable such as a guidebook or cheat sheet, toolkit or list of resources, templates, and more. Before we conclude this module, it's important to note some legislation regarding email newsletters. It is illegal to add anyone to your email list without their consent. I keep a subscription sheet at my studio and take it with me to all classes where people can write in their name, email address, and check which of my lists they like to be on. Consent is also given if someone opts into your email list via a form on your website. Next, there must be an option to unsubscribe. E-newsletter platforms like MailChimp and Flowdesk always have this feature built in, which is why it's better to send an email from them rather from your actual inbox. Plus, you gain access to incredibly helpful statistics. GDPR recently passed in Europe, meaning European companies are required to have their subscribers double opt-in. How this works is after subscribing to a list, an email is sent to the subscriber having them verify that they want to join the list by clicking a button, hence double opt-in. While these policies haven't been adopted by the US, if you have international subscribers, it's a good idea to integrate GDPR. This is easy to do on MailChimp and Flowdesk. That's how to get started on email marketing. In the next lesson, we're covering the elements of a highly effective email newsletter. I'll see you there.